So when it comes to hospitality, it's all about the details, right? So and the small details really matter. And I hear a lot of restaurant owners talk about this. A lot of leadership teams talk about this. They overlook or they fail to see those small details and what that looks like, and they kind of almost underplay them and underestimate them. But it really is true. Hospitality isn't a big gesture. It's really a series of small gestures that build into a big experience, right? A big impactful experience. And so little tiny things that add up. And sometimes it is like a giant thing at the end or in the middle or something like that that really sets it over the top. But it has to be all the small things as well. Like it has to be a full package. And that's what you want to do, right? Like you want to focus on a guest experience needs to have as little friction as possible. I always talk about how it needs to have as little friction as possible. And so friction is anytime someone says no to you during the experience. Maybe they're out of something, maybe it's slow, you're in an uncomfortable environment, you sit down and there's maybe a little bit of like crumbs on the seats. You put your hand down and it's maybe a little bit sticky, or you get a glass that's dirty, you get a menu that's a little bit like has smudges on it, or even crinkled, right? All those little things start adding friction. It just starts taking away from the experience. Like every step, every process, every detail in the experience, you like want to ask like, is this elevating the experience, or is this lowering the experience? It's like one thing I don't understand at all, I just can't wrap my head around for the life of me, is menus. A lot of restaurants have gone to paper menus, but even when it's not a paper menu, there's still the same kind of issue where I get a paper menu and it's crumpled, right? Maybe it's a little bit broken, crumpled on the side. Maybe it's just on the top, there's a little edge that's crumpled. Maybe it's actually dirty, which I've seen so many times, it just blows my mind. There's like grease stains on it, just little things like that. And it's like, when I would run a restaurant, I'd always say like, if it has a crease anywhere, if the little corners, throw it away, right? If it's a paper menu, like we're trying to save money by compromising the experience. And now you might say, well, Preston, that seems a little dramatic, but that's what we want to be. We want to be dramatic in our tenacity in giving the guests the best experience possible. We want to be overreacting. We want to be dramatic. We want to be over the top. That's the whole point. That is why the small details absolutely matter. And so when you get a dirty menu, it's like, or even just a creased menu, it shows that there's some sort of lack of care, right? That someone has not said in that restaurant that this is the standard. We only give our guests the best. And part of that is we're never gonna give you a creased menu. I cannot picture going into the Ritz-Carlton, for example, or Mastro's, which is a really well-ran steakhouse, and getting a creased menu or a dirty menu. I can't imagine it, because they make sure, right? The menu comes back, it gets wiped down, it gets double checked, and it gets to the guest, right? Same with paper menus. I don't care if you're a burger and beer place. Why would you let a standard slip? Why would you lower the experience by not just saying we're going to throw away our menus that are in any way, shape, or form not perfect, and then we're going to make sure that all of our guests get perfect menus? And if it's a money thing, it's like that's an old saying, right? You're stepping over dollars to pick up a nickel or pick up a quarter. Why? Like, why is that worth it in any way, shape, or form? And of course, plastic menus where it's just one laminated plastic thing. It's like all you have to do is wipe it down. And that doesn't get done because of lack of care. It's lack of care that kind of draws back from lack of training and ultimately draws back from lack of leadership, because the leadership team needs to be enforcing these things and making sure people are held accountable. Again, is that dramatic, Preston? Yes, and we want to be dramatic in these situations. So those little details matter across the board, but it's like every single touch point, every single experience, what they can see, what they can touch, what they can smell, right? Everything matters, right? And so we have to make sure we see that we got to put ourselves in the guest situation, right? You need to sit down at the booths and be like, let me just it's a kind of busy night. That table just got cleaned. Let me just go walk over there and sit down like a guest and see what happens, right? When I sit down, is this booth perfectly wiped down? Is this chair wiped down? Is this table wiped down? Is it wet? Right? When I'm looking over this way, what does a bar look like, right? What does the expo line look like? What do these tables look like? Take a second to reacclimate and see what that looks like, because you might be shocked. And so those little things matter. And so that's why I always say, like, pay attention to small details, because most restaurant owners and leaders say they do. They talk about it a lot, but then when it comes down to it, when we go and assess their restaurant, all those little details are missing. Another thing about small details, I'll give you an example. We're having an event coming up that we're really excited about, and it's a bigger event, right? So we're going to be spending a good amount of money at a hotel to host the event. And so I had two different hotels that I went to go check out spaces. Both are pretty close to the same price, right? And pretty close to the same level of quality. And so the first hotel I go to, the gentleman's waiting for me, and he has a bag, like a gift bag, right? And he's holding it the whole time, and I know it's for me. But the first thing we do is we walk up, and he goes, hold on a second. He's like, do you mind if I get you guys a coffee? Because it was in the morning. I said, sure. He's like, what kind of coffee would you like? And so we walk over to the coffee shop in the hotel. He goes up the front. The girls are like on high alert that are working there. They're so nice, and they're like super, super professional. And we give them our coffee order. It was me and my wife. They get her coffee, we give it to us, and then he's like, by the way, we got you this gift. It's just a little sweet treat from our bakery, blah, 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 blah. I hope you enjoy it, right? Super simple stuff, nothing extravagant, but it was just the thought that counts, that care that they took to make sure that was done. Second hotel we go to, the gentleman didn't have a gift and didn't offer us any coffee, any water, anything. Now, is that like, oh, I only buy from people that offer me free things and do, no, of course not. But that's just a pure example of detail. That's it. It's detail. What's the difference between those two things? Detail and effort. That's it. Someone trained and set up a system with this employee to say, when we show someone a room, we want them to buy, but we also still want to give them an experience, right? This is a paying customer. It's like we're giving our hotel guests an experience and a way of doing things. We want to give them an experience too, whether they buy or not. We want them to remember that experience. This experience matters. So small details. We're going to give them the sweet treat, which was not something that was like, it cost them almost nothing. The bag probably cost them more money than the product, right? Get them a coffee. So simple. Walk over, show that there's a hospitality there, right? I get to actually interact with some of the employees and see that hospitality experience. And that little detail versus over here where they were just like, just show them the place. But there's no care involved, right? The guy was really nice. He was well-spoken, but those little details matter. Now I have this like lingering thing in my head, by the way. Now it's sitting in my head where I'm like, I just got a coffee and they got me a gift and all this stuff. I come over here and they're empty-handed, right? It's like, that thought process all of a sudden lingers. You all of a sudden got spoiled over here, and now over here we're not getting anything, which again is not the deciding factor. Now, if the roles were to be flipped and I went over here, right? And I went over here and all of a sudden like I got nothing here, which I had no expectations or anything like that. But then I come over here, it's like coffee and a gift and all this stuff. I'm like, okay, now I'm already being much more impressed and wowed than I was over here. The thing is, these hotels are about the same price, right? There's a little bit of a difference. In fact, this one that didn't give me anything, that didn't have any of those little small details, was cheaper. But I'm gonna go with this one because that was one of the deciding factors, those little things that they immersed me with. Another thing too was I went to go see the rooms, right? The conference space that we're gonna have. This hotel, the conference room was booked and there was an event in there. So we're literally walking up to the conference room and all of a sudden you see like there's like an event there and like the door's kind of cracked. And you can hear like an event going on, and he was stopped and he goes, oh, there's an event happening here. Wait a minute, there's not supposed to be an event happening here. What's going on? And then he's like, oh, okay, let me find out what's going on. Sorry about that. I can show you a room that's kind of similar. It's not the same size and it's a little bit different of design, but I'll show you something that's similar. Obviously, the other place, the conference room was open, but he's like, that wasn't supposed to happen, blah, blah, blah. Again, small details. You start chipping away. Now, let's kind of like map this out, right? If he had done something, which coffee is just an example I'm giving because this is what happened at this place, but like if he had given us coffee, if he had like hey, did you want like a bagel or something? Because they had a freaking coffee shop. Did you guys want like a croissant or a bagel? Can I grab you guys a coffee? How about some water? Do you guys want some water, soda water? What do you guys prefer? I'll get you a bottle of water, whatever it is, right? If they had started doing stuff like that, now you start padding the experience, and this is important for restaurant owners to understand this, and any business owner. You're starting to pad the experience with hospitality, which means if something goes wrong, you now have a protection, right? You have a little bit of a protection against that. Because if the hospitality is really good, right? Let's say the experience has 10 touch points, just hypothetically speaking, right? 10 touch points of where someone's gonna interact with me, my food gets dropped off, when I sit down, is it clean? All that good stuff. There's just 10 touch points, and they all get elevated and executed at a high level, above and beyond, where I'm like impressed wow, wow, wow. Now the sixth touch point is a fail, right? Maybe the food comes out wrong, the food comes out late, the food comes out overcooked, whatever that is, right? It's a fail. All of a sudden, you have elevated the experience so much that fail is a lot lighter of a drop, right? But when you're sitting there and it's just experience, transactional, and then there's a fail, now it's a drop off. Now I'm hitting the ground. Now I'm upset. Now I'm feeling it. But if you're elevating the experience the entire time and there's a little dip, that's okay. I'm actually way more compassionate. I'm way more understanding. I'm okay with it because the experience is so good. And I'll give you another example of what that looks like. So If you have a server that comes up, hi, how's it going? Welcome. How are you today? I'm good. Awesome. Can I start you off with something to drink? Okay, cool. If you guys need anything, let me know. My name's Preston. Okay. Like, you guys ready to order? Awesome. Okay, great choice. Cool. Make sure that gets out to you right away. Thank you. Can I get a side of this with it? Yep, absolutely, no problem, right? But that's all transactional. So now I have nothing padding it, right? The server walks up to me and goes, I'm really sorry, guys. 20 minutes after we've ordered food, the server comes up to me and says, I'm really sorry, guys, but I forgot to put in your order. We're gonna get it out to you as soon as possible. I am going to probably get upset at that point, right? I'm gonna get irritated because it was all transactional, all business, basically showing me you don't really value me or care that I'm there. You're just there to perform a duty, and you care less if I'm there or not, versus if I had a server who was awesome and he was making jokes and he was being friendly and he was asking me about if it's our first time and then walking us through. When I ask him, hey, can I get an extra side of this with my meal? Oh yeah, absolutely, man, no problem, of course. Is there anything else I can get for you? Like, just let me know. Whatever I can do to make you enjoy your meal more, let me know. We're here. You can flag any of us down. We're more than happy to do that for you. Versus like, yeah, sure, no problem. So all of that, those little tiny details add up. So when the server comes up, who I absolutely love now, this guy's awesome, right? So he's been so cool, he's been so accommodating, he's been so nice, so friendly. I feel like he actually cares that I'm there. He's actually trying to earn my business to come back. And he comes up and he goes, guys, I'm so sorry. I made a huge mistake. I forgot to put in your food order. I know it's been 20 minutes. I've told the kitchen, we've put it in, they're rushing it out. My manager's on top of it. He's gonna make sure it comes out ASAP. As soon as it's the first priority, as soon as your food comes out the window, they're dropping it down. I'm gonna bring you guys some like a soup or salad while you're waiting. It comes out really fast. I am just so sorry about that. I'm gonna be like, man, don't worry, dude. Don't worry about it. You've been awesome. Mistakes happen, please, right? I have the guy who doesn't care, lackadaisical, transactional, comes up, sorry, I forgot it. And now I'm like irritated. Now I'm upset. Now I'm like, I want something for free. I'm just so like, this has just been such a disappointment, right? It went from just transactional, like, okay, it's fine, it's whatever, serviceable. Now it's like, oh, now it's just become bad. Now this has become a bad transaction. Now it's become a bad experience. So those little details matter. So what I encourage you to do is not only talk about the little details, but map out the little details, right? Every single part of the process of your restaurant experience, right? So map it out. What is a customer journey? What is a guest journey from the moment the guest walks in the door, or you can even go as far back as the moment the guest makes the reservation, all the way up until the guest pays and leaves. Map out that journey and every single touch point. Say, are we not only doing it well, but we're elevating it, and what can we do to elevate it? Map that out and then make that a system and make that trainable, but also put KPIs on it so you can actually monitor it, manage it, because when a mistake inevitably comes up, which it will, we have a process to where it lands so softly that the guests don't actually get upset.